Hey everyone, this is Zero Cat here, bringing you a deck tech video. I'll be doing a deck tech today on Naya Winota. I was supposed to do mono black vampires, but I didn't have enough game content slash knowledge to give a really good, accurate um, idea of how it would be in the current meta. So I'm just doing Naya Winota because that's the last deck that I played. Because also there's not much new content in terms of decks because the set just came out and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go over this and have a lot more better deck techs. No, I don't say better deck techs, just deck techs that aren't related to like standard, because it feels like this one, it's like Winota feels like it's a standard and historic deck, and I think nothing really changes. I think I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't really play that format. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's go over the lands first. Not really any changes here in terms of in 3-color decks. You want dual lands, of course. You no triomes. You want all your lands to come into play untapped and start doing stuff right away. This deck is kind of like a little aggressive aggro deck. The only exception is the 1-man land layer of the Hydra, which I think is a really good card either way, because it's as big as how many lands that you have, or as mana as you have. And speaking of mana, you have quite a few. You have a player set of both Elvish Mystic and Landwar Elves. And you kind of have it also with Prosperous Innkeeper, which I found really amazing in this deck. This is the first time playing it in a competitive deck, as it were. This thing gives you mana when it comes in and gives you that life gain against certain aggressive decks. So it's actually really, I enjoy this deck a lot. Also, it is a non-human, being a halfling citizen. So it triggers the namesake card Winota. Next is Ranger class, which I think is really good. I think this card is amazing, especially in this deck. It's mostly a creature-based deck, and all of its abilities, or level ups as it were, is very relevant. Voice Resurgence, also kind of just a really good card. I don't really have to talk about that. Really good against control and burn. It's basically a really good 2-for-1. Elite Spellbinder also found out to be really amazing in this deck. It's the good tempo plays that you really want with this, and it being a 3-1 and having that even if it dies, you still have tempoed your opponent. Pia Nalar, I was a little indifferent about. It didn't really do much for me here. I didn't really play with it. It was kind of one of those cards I always took out when I sideboarded. It does come into play with a 1/1 flyer, so it does trigger, help continue to trigger Winota. And its abilities are alright, but you're only the sacrifice an artifact. There are not many artifacts in this deck to sacrifice other than that one artifact. Then one copy of Eldritch Evolution, so that you can find the right card that you need for the situation, is always good. And Minx, I think, is a really cool little fun little just thing. You know, I think it's just like a flavor card. Like, I don't think you could probably replace this with either another Pia. But it's not a bad. You get a 1/1 legendary red hamster, boo, with trample and haste. I just don't like its activated ability being a sorcery speed. I think there's just a little bit more that you could do in that slot if you wanted to. But yeah, it's not bad. Also, having it come in exactly on turn 3 is a little hard, because it is one of every color. Eska's Chariot, 4 copies of that. I feel this card is also one of those cards that I took out 1 to 2 copies of right away. It is a 2/2. It does activate itself in terms of a vehicle. It does stop that sorcery speed removal. And it does make more tokens, so it's not that bad. It's also 4 damage as well. It's not bad. I like it. There's not many tokens. Actually, there's quite a few tokens. There's the Thopter, Voice Returgence token, as well as the Wolf token, and also the Cat tokens. I think those are the only ones. Yeah, but other than that, it's not a bad card. Then you got the name card of the deck, Winota, Joiner of Forces. Basically, collect a company and a stick only for non-humans, and you have the tech with non-humans to trigger the collected company to find humans in the top 6 cards that have it come into play, tapped and attacking, and are indestructible. Very good card. You can replace itself, so it can be, and then if you get lucky, if you get one in its deck, it will be attacking and indestructible, so it's not that bad. It's really good. Then Blade Historian. It's this deck. And previous that I saw, I think this card was usually the Marauders card, which was any damage dealt would be double damage, would be double that. It was really fun, but I think this is a little more easier because Marauders was like a 7-cost card. Beta Historian's a 4-crop. The only thing about it is really hard. It is either 4 red and white, so keep that in mind when playing your lands, because whenever I played with it, it was always in my hand, and when you did play it, it was really amazing. So just keep that in mind when you're playing lands in this deck, that you kind of want to make sure that you have the ability to cast this right away. Though it might be very hard because, you know, on turn 1 or turn 2, you definitely want to have green mana to cast your Elvish Mystics and whatnot. Then you have the Kenrith, which I found out to be quite fun. Though you can only activate 3 of its abilities. I'm gonna call them Planeswalker abilities at this point. Jesus. They're quite good, especially the +1/+1 counter on a creature. It stops the mana block because of that 1 kill spell where it would kill a creature with counters on it. So it's not bad. And if you're lucky and if you haven't used a treasure token to accelerate yourself with Prowess Innkeeper, you could possibly do the other 2 abilities that require blue or black mana. Okay, now that we got into that, let's talk about the sideboard really quickly. So you have Deafening Silence, probably against maybe combo decks and maybe Burn. Baffling End is a removal, which is not bad, because not many decks have that enchantment removal. Rest in Peace, kind of just, you know, this card's just every good in just all graveyard decks. I think this card's amazing, as well as some sacrifice decks out there. Archon of Aramera, which is also really good. Can cast 1 more spell one turn, also good in combos and on basic lands. So decks that come into play with a lot of dual lands, probably 5 color decks out there or 4 color decks out there. And this card's amazing. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Angel that turns into a shield sometimes. This card's really, I can't even say this card's amazing. I feels like this card should be in the deck all the time, just because both sides are very, very relevant. Like, oh my god, the Angel like makes things like cost more for your opponent, and the shield basically does 1 less damage. I was really good against Burn, and like whenever your stuff gets targeted, they have to pay 1 more mana. It's so good. Gideon, 1 copy of Gideon, LA Zendikar. It seems fine. I did put it in a few times and it was okay. I understand the 1 copy. Rip Apart was the 1 card that surprised me the most. I think it was like in the terms of Prowess Innkeeper too. It was really, really good. I found it very good. All the effects on this card was very good. The only thing I didn't like about it is it's in sorcery speed and instant speed, but it answered most of the stuff. It dealt with like more removal if I needed it, as well as dealt with any weird decks out there that had to do with enchantments or artifacts. Really solid card. This is the 1 card, this Yasharn, which I could not find a way to put it in. Like, I was reading this card. It's players can't pay life. Or you basically go for a Rampant Growth, right? For plains or forest. It goes into your hand. It's not in the field, so it's not a Rampant Growth. You just put it in your hand. But players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. I don't know whether it's like a standard or historic thing, but I could not find anything in Pioneer. Like, I was looking at this card and I was just like, I don't know when to put this card in. I don't know when to put this card in. And it never came up. But the guy that made this deck, he probably knows the answer. Zero Cat does not. But yeah. So if I was thinking, like, this format's still new, so I don't really know who's going to be the big boogeyman in terms of like what to particularly sideboard. But if I was thinking about maybe taking out a few cards, it might be taking out either Deafening Silence to put another Archon, or keep it. It's up to you. The removal package is fine. I think the Baffling Ends and the part are perfect. But if I were going to take out this, anything in this deck to make room for more things that you probably want, I'd probably just take out this Impeccable Earth guy. I think the 1 copy Gideon's fine. And then, like I said, in the current deck, the only card I think I probably would take out is the Minx, because it just feels off and it's very hard to cast on turn 3 consecutively. And just having a 1/1 legendary hamster, which you can't even like Eska's Chariot because it's a legendary, but and having its effect be, you know, XX on sorcery speed feels a little just off. those are my thoughts, and I think it's up to you whether you want to keep it or play with it. It's entirely up to you. I'm a big fan, like I said before, of playing cards that you like, or else why play Magic? Like, I understand you want to like get the best deck, but if you want to play with a specific card, go effing do it. It is the one copy. It's not gonna hurt or kill you, and I think at the end of the day, I think you'll be more happy for playing one of your favorite cards. That's my thoughts. And as always, guys, definitely please give me a like on this video as well, and go out there and play some Magic, and keep safe out there. And as always, guys, live free and game on. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.